Good evening, First Alert meteorologist Isaac Williams here with an update on the weather. We'll talk about some First Alert weather days coming up tomorrow and Wednesday. We have two of them now. We added Tuesday tomorrow for some heat danger, and then we also have Wednesday's heat potential as well as some increased storm potential. So the first First Alert weather day is for Tuesday, and it's just for that plain old hot weather. We got to 94 degrees today in Atlanta, down at Hartsfield-Jackson, and tomorrow we may get even hotter. And then for Wednesday, the First Alert weather day is for heat and for storms. We still expect to get into the 90s, and then we're going to see possibly some big storms to develop after lunch for Wednesday. So that's something that we're going to be watching. But tomorrow, we're really not expecting much storm action for Tuesday. It is the heat that is the reason behind that First Alert weather day. The rest of the forecast tonight, it is going to be nice and quiet. We have very minimal rain out there, and we haven't seen a whole lot so far today, and I'm really not expecting much more throughout the rest of the evening. It's going to be a very mild evening to almost warm, 87 degrees at 9 p.m., still in the low 80s at midnight, only dropping to the mid-70s overnight and then into tomorrow morning, already at 83 degrees with some sunshine, so we are going to be warming up very quickly. Highs tomorrow, 97 in the metro, 99 in Covington, and Eatonton is showing 100 degrees. It's not out of the question. We could see one or two spots get close to 100 tomorrow, but remember, these are air temperatures, so the heat index definitely is the factor tomorrow where we're going to be seeing those feels-like numbers close to, if not above, 105 degrees. So that's something that the heat advisory that's been issued, that's the reason for it here. You can see this is a look at the national heat map. So obviously, most of North Georgia, minus a few counties in the northeastern part of the state, in a heat advisory for Tuesday and for Wednesday. Our Alabama counties included as well. And you can see up and down the East Coast heat warnings there, even back towards St. Louis and in West Virginia, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, New York City, Boston, the nation's capital, near Chicago. So we're not the only ones dealing with heat. We've had a really, really big ridge of high pressure across the east half of the country the last few days, and the heat's just going to continue. Now, in Georgia and metro Atlanta here, the temperature of 97 degrees is not so far-fetched for tomorrow, but since it is one of the first heat advisories that we have seen, we went ahead and issued that First Alert weather day. Again, we expect plenty more heat advisories throughout the rest of the summer, but since this is one of the first ones, we want you to get you ready that summer officially began Friday, and we just are seeing the first heat advisory issued just a few days later. But again, heat warnings up and down the East Coast. It's a scorcher for D.C., New York, again, all the way up into the Northeast, even Maine seeing an extreme heat warning. So that's something that is going to continue to be the case for them. And going forward here, we've got that heat advisory again for us in North Georgia Tuesday and for Wednesday. I'll look at the forecast for the temperature and heat index tomorrow. You can see here we're looking at about at least 5 hours of the heat index being above 100 degrees for metro Atlanta. So starting around 1 p.m. or so tomorrow, you can see that 101 for the heat index in the pink color, 104, 105, something like that, certainly for several hours. The actual air temperature will be in the 90s from about 11 o'clock in the morning through at least 7, if not 8 p.m. So we've got a longer stretch of hotter, more intense weather tomorrow. And again, the rain chance is bleak at best for tomorrow. I think we have a 20% chance of rain in there for a very small possibility of a rogue shower or two, but it's Wednesday that we're watching for higher storm potential, and I'll touch on that coming up here in a second. We'll get back to radar in a minute as well. Here's a look at the 7 days. So you see the two First Alert weather days tomorrow and Wednesday. Tomorrow, again, rain chance just 20%. The main story is the heat. Wednesday, a 60% chance of storms, and some of our latest computer model data indicating we may have to up that rain chance on Wednesday afternoon. And that might be the saving grace of another really intense heat day, in that if the storms form around noon, 1 or 2 o'clock, we may not be able to get to those 105 heat indices. But if they are a little bit later, then we'll have not only the heat index for the first half of the afternoon, then we'll have some intense storms in the second half of the afternoon, and hopefully we can get a little bit more confident in the forecast for Wednesday. And that's going to set us back into a summertime pattern. So starting Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, notice about a 40% chance of storms each day. But notice it's a more of a normal heat, where the high temperature should be around 90, between 89 and 92. That's what we usually see in late June here in North Georgia. It's the 97 tomorrow that is almost 10 degrees above average for late June. So once we get into Wednesday, I think we'll have some pretty intense storms, and then Thursday through the weekend, it's going to be some of those more normal summertime storms that last for about an hour to maybe 90 minutes, and they rain themselves out and go away, and the coverage is very random. But Wednesday is showing some signs that we could have a little bit more organization to the storm potential. And then again, going through the rest of the weekend, that 40% chance of storms will stick around. Here's a look at Wednesday. So I want to walk you through Futurecast and kind of show you a little bit more what are the computer models that we have here and what it's showing. So starting at noon Wednesday, we're already seeing a few showers form, but look how many more develop around 3 o'clock Wednesday afternoon. And again, this widespread coverage may save us from the super intense heat, but we are going to see if this model is correct. And again, it's been showing this now for a couple of runs, so we're starting to get maybe a little more confident in the storm potential and how widespread it may be Wednesday. And you can see this blob of red and purple showing up on Futurecast there between here and Athens. We do expect a few possibly severe storms Wednesday afternoon with some gusty wind as the primary concern here. But it's a day we're watching. There's another reason that first alert is in place here. So the Storm Prediction Center has placed just about the entire coverage area in a level 1 out of 5 risk of severe weather. So this is not super uncommon, but it is when we do see these risks of severe weather, there's just a little bit more confidence that we might see some storms grow severe. Again, this time of the year, there's no tornado concerns because we have no wind shear in the atmosphere, but we could see some hail, and we certainly could see some gusty winds over 50 or 60 miles per hour. We have had at least a dry stretch, so thankfully the ground is dried up a little bit, so maybe the trees can be in a little bit better shape to withstand some of these gusty winds that may come in on Wednesday. But just keep in mind that we will probably see this level 1 risk continue for Wednesday going forward here. This is again from about noon to 6 or 7 o'clock is kind of that broad time frame that we're watching for storms here on Wednesday. So we'll go back to the radar, and again, we haven't seen a whole lot on the board here. You can see a few storms not too far from Clay County, North Carolina. Looks like they're kind of moving closer to the Tennessee line. And then we've had a shower or two outside of LaGrange earlier today, and 1 or 2 other very random showers. But in large part, we have not seen rain, certainly nothing in the metro that we've seen on radar. Bigger picture view, once again, the greatest concentration of storms is well west of us in Mississippi, western Tennessee, and the sea breeze is very busy on the Gulf Coast. We have several storms now from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, over to Mobile, Alabama, down over toward Destin and Panama City on the Florida Gulf Coast. But again, that ridge of high pressure that's been cooking us for the past couple days, it is basically deflecting the rain and storm chances around the region. So as long as that ridge stays in place, we're going to continue to have very hot afternoons. And that's the reason that we're going to see the hottest weather tomorrow on Tuesday. And then that ridge begins to break down a little bit on Wednesday, and that's what's going to open up the door for increased storm potential Wednesday afternoon. And once the ridge goes away, we lose that protection from the storm. So then we see the daily chance of storms return, and that's what we are seeing in the 7-day forecast. So I'll go back to the 7-day forecast here, and again, the hottest day is tomorrow at 97. For comparison, we got to 94 today, so about 3, maybe 4 degrees hotter tomorrow. And then going into the rest of the week, again, we're looking at a little bit more of a normal heat, highs in the low 90s and maybe even some upper 80s by Sunday and Monday of next week, with overnight lows into the lower 70s. Here's another look at the hour-by-hour forecast for Wednesday, because, again, we don't really expect a whole lot tomorrow in terms of rain or storms. But Wednesday definitely holds the possibility of scattered, if not numerous, showers and storms. We expect possibly a pretty busy afternoon. This does include the rush hour around here with some downpours and heavy storm action very likely, it looks like, for Wednesday. Again, if something changes, if the rain coverage backs off, of course, we'll adjust the forecast as needed. But right now it's looking a little bit busier for Wednesday afternoon. Again, more of a normal summertime storm pattern kicking up for Thursday and into this coming weekend. Again, that's the very latest here on Atlanta News First Plus. Don't forget, you can always download the First Alert Weather app. We're keeping things constantly updated there as well, and you can always get the very latest on the 7-day forecast inside the weather app as well.
up to date on your latest weather from the largest team of meteorologists in the Southeast. Download the First Alert Weather app for hour-by-hour forecasts and join us every weekday at 11:30 a.m. on ANF+. You can also text WEATHER to the number on your screen, and we'll send a link directly to your cell phone.